Hello once again, I'm Metre. Thank you for joining me. It is midnight, believe it or not, and I wanted to make my third crypto video. So the first video was using Pond or Marlin, and the second video was on the CMC 200 index. The data is still out there and tracking for the index that tracks roughly 200 different cryptocurrencies. And so I enjoy obviously using the indexes more than the individual coins. And I also wanted to make my third and final video for crypto for Bitcoin. I had a donation today saying that they enjoyed my work for the S&P and they'd also be interested in seeing a Bitcoin forecast. So as it is when you go to the dueling piano bar and throw a tip in the hat and ask for a song, and so you get one. So tonight I will be providing kind of a snapshot of my macro Bitcoin forecast and give you a glimpse into why I think the Great Depression may also be linked to Bitcoin. Thank you. As always, the QR codes are provided for anyone that wants to donate, or a link in the description below the video as well. Thank you so much. So, another short video for crypto. Essentially, the green wave is really my most powerful peak wave that I've created. It's been the last 4 or 5 months that I created this. That's how I was able to call so many peaks pretty close in nature over the last 3 months, 2 or 3 months. The purple wave usually would call some type of peak, but more strength. But the response from the pricing side would be very weak. So it wasn't reliable enough to really base a lot upon it. So that's what gave me pause after trying to call peaks with that. And so you can see that it's not exactly lined up with the purple wave. So the purple wave was kind of like a prototype for peaks, but again, it didn't really draw a lot of strength or a lot of power behind it when it would come to its predicted date. But I found that the green wave has a lot more power behind it when it hits its date. So with that said, you have the top diagonal line is your green wave, and essentially you have 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on it going out to roughly Memorial Day of 2025, and so I believe that's where the next macro peak in Bitcoin will be. And then you also have the teal blue underneath the lower horizontal black line hits the horizontal again around Memorial Day of 2025. So I think that's going to be the next macro peak in Bitcoin. And then at the very bottom of the graph, believe it or not, this yellow line tracks all the way out to roughly Labor Day of 2030, which I believe will kick off the Great Depression. And I believe that either Bitcoin is one of the few things that survives and lasts into the Great Depression, where those who have it obviously stay very wealthy. Some people think that there's wars fought over Bitcoin-related financial instruments, and the other option would be Bitcoin really goes to the moon and pulls all the crypto with it, all the other crypto coins with it, right, into late 2030, and then the worldwide governments they ban it, or they confiscate crypto, or they do something to greatly impede its fluid nature and being able to be traded so easily. So that could cause the price of Bitcoin, let's say it hits $1.5 million on Labor Day of 2030, and by 2035, it's back down to under $100,000, just because the scare or being confiscated or whatever happens causes Bitcoin to collapse, and thus the entire world's economic system collapses with it. Being that so many people are invested in cryptocurrencies, whether it's small coins or altcoins, whatever coins there are at that time, going into 2030. That's one of the possibilities. I think that could be linked to the major economic depression. I believe that's coming from 2031 through 2035, and a double bottom in roughly 2037. And again, I think that this yellow trend line is going out to that macro peak in 2030. I think that's where the Great Depression kicks off. So so I think this is pretty sweet. I found that the trend line is going to the roughly that where the teal line is going. Usually pick out some pretty powerful peaks, and so that's why you're having that yellow trend line go up so far out in the future. And I think that's what's syncing with the kickoff of the Great Depression. So again, I think that crypto as a whole and Bitcoin specifically will pull everything up into roughly that Memorial Day of 2025, and then it will see its 4-year peak. Maybe it double peaks in the fall, and then we have possibly another drawdown in Bitcoin in its price, maybe into late 2025, early 2026. But as we're going more and more into that supersonic hyper pitch peak out in 2030, the sell-off may not be that great, right? Because there's just so much pressure trying to push it to its extreme point in late 2030. So that's my forecast. Again, I think in my opinion, I think it pulls all the crypto, all the other crap coins, and to put it nicely, and other altcoins with it into 2030. So I think that's, and then also into May of 2025. So that's why I think you see the CMC index in Marlin or PONDUSD also forecasted for a macro peak around Memorial Day or May of 2025. So thank you for the donation today. I appreciate it. And thank you for all who've donated in the past, this year or previous years. Very much appreciate it, and always, gets me in the mood to try to create another video and do something that I don't think anyone else can do on YouTube, at least in my own talented way. And so, hopefully you view this video in 15 months' time, and you find that it's hyper accurate, and you find that Bitcoin is at some macro peak in late April of 2025 or mid-April or early May, somewhere around there. You find crypto at some monstrous peak, and then I think we see it decline in some ways, and obviously you could see the altcoins really implode right off of each peak. Litecoin really hasn't taken off. Usually when Bitcoin cools, Litecoin just goes back down to its normal lows, and so Litecoin usually stays straight or trend bound, range bound, and so so it's altcoins obviously always behave very differently than Bitcoin, but I think in my opinion, if I'm understanding all these forecasts correct, I think they all peak together around that time frame. So my plan is for my personal holdings. I'm holding all my coins until roughly that April-May time frame of 2025, and we'll review then whether or not what I want to do with them. But I'm not a financial advisor in any way, shape, or form. It's just my own personal forecast tools and plans that I'm planning on holding for the next 15 months, and then possibly offloading in April or May of 2025. So hopefully by then you find this video highly entertaining and highly accurate. And if it is 2025, the summer 2025, and you want to buy me a beer or whatever for being hyper accurate, if you're watching this video 15 months in the future, and you want to send a donation my way, please feel free to do it as well. I do hope that in some regards that there are those that watch these in the distant future and and send in some donations just because they're so shocked by the accuracy of some of these models. So it's today is like mid-March 2024. Yeah, so you can see from the graph, obviously, that it's near March. But yeah, so that's in a nutshell. That's it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everything. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if you do know some individuals that really enjoy and love Bitcoin, if you wouldn't mind sending my forecast along to them, I would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I'm B.R. Schultz. This is video 3 of 3 of my cryptocurrency series. Thank you so much. Take care.